sovereignty right now is trying to steal your land. Not just trying, they did. And they usually do it through tacit, non-consensual agreements. So when you signed or you registered to vote here, when you signed a marriage certificate, when you signed your children into the hospital, when you signed their birth certificate, when you signed your driver's license, all of these things are scams to not only steal everything that you own, your entire estate, your children, and your land. No, the way that they've actually stolen land is quite fascinating. They just created an overlay of zip codes, then they claimed them. But the thing about it is they can't claim your land. Land can only be passed from one sovereign to the next. It cannot be passed to a foreign corporation. So what they're doing is they're claiming your land because you haven't, and that way when you die, they can take it from your heirs. That way when you die, they can take it from your heirs. So that's why we need to get a little smarter about operating in the private, setting up our own private trusts, and claiming our land. It's like far and away. All you need is a bunch of little, white flags and some posts so you can get your meets and bounds, and then you can claim your land, and therefore you can then pass it on to your heirs. So one of the things we're doing immediately for operational restoration is we're setting up a PMA, a social compact, wherein we're providing refuge for people that want to come back and get their land back from the county. We're talking 4.5 million people in Maricopa County, of which they have every single person, this right here, this Maricopa County Assessor's Office.
Which, Mickey, no one's here working.
No one's even.
So, when you go to purchase a property, you have a realtor, right? And they show you the actual land. They show you the front yard, they show you the backyard, they show you the house. You walk through the house, right? You love the barbecue and say, yeah, I want this house, okay? Then they shove you through this escrow process. And at the end, they create deed of trust, warranty deed, corporate deed, or some kind of deed. And in that moment, what they've done, they taken the description of the land and they took you into a fiction, okay? Mm-hmm. And the way how they do it, as Mickey was saying, through the assessor. So when our country was invaded, they created this federal territory overlay on top of the land. So the actual land is described in the meets and bounds, which is done through the surveyors, licensed surveyors map. So you have one map that's describing the actual land. The legal description is then when they take it at the end of escrow into the fiction. And that's the assessor's map. And they did it so they can assess the property taxes, because you cannot tax private land, but you can tax an estate. And that's how they do it. That they take the surveyor's map, they create another map through the assessor's office called the assessor's map. And now this land is no longer described in the physical meets and bounds, but it's described through a legal description, through a new map that was created in order for them to take you in the, I call it the legal la-la land, okay, into the fiction. And you think you are buying a property, but no, you are actually buying an interest on their parcel. And the way how you know is just read your deed. In your deed, it will tell you that you are a tenant. How can you own a property and be a tenant? If you paid for the house that you own, how come, let's say you get a disease and something bad happens to you and you can no longer afford to pay the property taxes, that the county can come and steal your house that it's paid for? How is that done? This is how it's done.
It's all done for fraud.
And people don't even realize that actually they are not foreclosing on the actual land, but they are foreclosing on a fiction, on APN number, which doesn't exist. It only exists as a creation of the mind, okay? So the solution is people need to wake up and they need to make claim to the land that's actually sitting abundant.
It's abundant.
It's everywhere.
It's abundant. This is how you win every war, is the land. They knew that. They knew they had to con us out of our land and keep us poor, and keep us poor generation to generation to generation, so that they could basically just steal our country. There's no proof that the bank even funded it in the first place.
Yeah, because there is no money. There is no money. Money was taken away through the Emergency Banking Act in 1933. So if there is no money, you know, they couldn't just take the money. They had to create a system. It's basically the credit system through the trust, you know, you can only discharge, set off, or terminate the debt. Look at all the foreclosures where people's lives were ruined, where families were ruined, you know, people committed for nothing, okay, for nothing, because they left a land that they settled on. This is the American dream, that you can own a land, you can you know, nurture the land, you can live from the land, and then you pass it to your heirs. Okay, this is the American dream that so many brave men put their life to, and we just gave it away. So this is really the call to people. You need to claim the land that you settled on. You are the settler. And then you basically have to notice the county, hey, listen, I am no longer participating in this federal territory overlay, and you know, I actually would like to invite you, come and locate the APN number. Come and locate your number on my property, because I think it's trespassing on my property. And of course, they won't be able to, right? So we can return the APN number to them, right? And once you return the APN number, it's no longer on your property. And should the APN number come back to your property, well, now it's subjected to $5,000 per day per person trespass fee.
Now, what you guys don't know about Lenka is that she is a de jure sheriff. That she is a de jure sheriff of Southern California, and she's brave.